All right, but what we will do, and we promise this to the homies each and every time, we will talk about every game that happened the previous week. And there was one game, and you traveled to that. The Hall of Fame game, Canton, Ohio, festivities. You guys do a great job with highlighting all the incoming Hall of Famers, talking to them, giving their time on the broadcast. I'm sure you got a chance to talk to them.
Yes.
And that really is the big deal with having you at these games, because we all saw the game on TV, and we'll get into what happened in the game, but it's like the conversations and the observations that you make before the game even begins, I think is the most valuable thing whenever you go out to one of these games.
I find value in it.
Yeah.
I do, right? You've heard me say a million times. I mean, first off, the Hall of Fame. It's great to be there. Yeah. The legends that are there. To be on the field and, oh, man, there's Dan Fouts. And, of course, the guys that are coming in, there's Dan Fouts. Holy crap. There's Andre Johnson, Edgerrin James.
People show up. People still come back.
And they
definitely.
I mean, Tony Dungy makes it a point of emphasis to make sure he's there to welcome the new people, right? But then also to be around Jared Allen, Eric Allen, Antonio Gates, and company, and be and just see the joy. And, of course, some of those guys, I had crossover with Jared Allen. I played in the league when he did. Same with Antonio Gates. I've known him for a long time. So all of that in itself is just cool to be a part of that. So I enjoy that because I love history of football and everything that goes into it. But, we've had these discussions in the past. And you brought up a few minutes ago, which made me feel good about myself. You're like, damn, the Hall of Fame game a few years ago is when you said Trevor Lawrence looked different.
Yep.
Watch out for the Jaguars. They look good.
They look real.
And then they went to the divisional game and had the Chiefs on the ropes, right, when Mahomes hurt his ankle and all that. So, there are some things you can look at that way. And this is one here this year where, hey, I've seen Detroit a few times in person over the last few years. There's no doubt about that. But seeing the Chargers in person, which I haven't since Harbaugh took over, there was great value in that. And the way their team looks. And, of course, they're a team that's, ascending in a positive direction. So to be on the field and see some of those guys in person, I really did enjoy it. And the Chargers have an energy like I felt from the Lions 2 years ago. This is something exciting. We laid the groundwork last year, right? You guys came off that year where you beat Green Bay at the end of the regular season. Everybody's like, oh, watch out for the Lions next year. We had them opening game against the Kansas City Chiefs, right, on a Thursday night. And you could feel the confidence and the energy from the Lions being on the field with that day, let alone looking at them in person going, wow, they're a big, physical, awesome-looking football team. I had some of those vibes with the Chargers, right? There is great confidence and just an aura and a feel with everybody, and energy on that field of hey, we got something positive going. We got some leaders at the key positions. We buy into our coach. We think our quarterback's awesome. We like our D coordinator. He's awesome. Yeah. And you could feel that certainly. And I'm not saying not for Detroit, but Detroit's already been there, done that. This is still kind of new and exciting for the Chargers, and I do feel like you could feel that being there.
You're one of the ones driving the bus right now on the Chiefs, as great as they have been.
Right.
It's you can't just do it every year. And maybe this will be the year where they take a step back and don't even make, they do make the playoffs. But as a wild card, don't win. There's a chance they don't just walk to a division title again this year. Seeing the Chargers, do you feel even more strongly about that?
Yes, because it confirmed that they're on a mission. It confirmed that they feel good about where they are. I'll take you in. Inside, here's the first thing that popped out to me. The first thing, I walk on the field and I saw some of their O-linemen, right? I talked to their O-line coach a little bit, and I was like, he's like, I got to go work with my guys. So I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'm coming over there in a minute because I want to see. Yeah. And then when you get over there to see that, very similar again to when I saw Detroit for the first time on the field in that Kansas City game where you just went, holy shit, the Chargers are big up front. Mekhi Becton at right guard, Joe Alt at right tackle, Zion Johnson, Rashawn Slater. Just those four alone, you go, whoa, right? Let alone coached well. So you look at that and go, wow, this is something. We know they can run the ball. We know they believe in running the ball. They have creative run ideas. One of the things I love about Greg Roman is I do think he's extremely creative in his run game design. Yeah. So it's a positive for them. And to sit there and go, well, if it's 3rd and 1, let me just tell you what they're going to do. Here, they're going to run behind Mekhi Becton at 6'7", 350 pounds, and behind Joe Alt. They're going to go right. All right. That's what I plan on. But that was impressive to see right there, just as far as that look right there. You have a hard time kind of going through it and going, man, there's not too many teams that are going to be able to overpower, Mike Devlin, the offensive line coach. That's who I was referring to.
Yeah.
Not many people that are going to be able to overpower that group. There's not going to be any games where they're mismatched and you're going to be like, oh, I'm worried about Justin Herbert being able to throw or them being able to run the football.
Well, and perhaps they have the running back, too, because there is no one that gets more effusive praise from Jim Harbaugh than Justin Herbert. But catching him now here in training camp, you have heard him talk about Omarion Hampton a few times. They really believe that he can be something special, I think.
I asked a few people, right? That's the other great thing. Look test.
Yeah.
And then tell me about someone, maybe the newcomers or a guy that's surprising you at camp. Mm-hmm. The first thing I'm going to ask is about Omarion Hampton.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, I put him in the same tier as Ashton Genty. I really like his body and the way I think it can translate to the NFL. I mean, there was no doubt from anybody I talked to, defensive players, offensive players, people on the offensive line. Yeah. They were always like, well, he's the real deal. He's the real deal.
How can they tell? What do you think it was?
I think it's just that they run the ball in practice. They do that. They see people try to hit him and bounce off him. There was a few comments made like that, like, man, trying to bring him down. You see his legs, right? A few of them said, you see those legs? Damn. That. And then the other thing that they were effusive about their praise is vision, right? That was the other thing. Man, is his vision. He sees cutback lanes. Mm-hmm. And, he's shifty. We talked about this during the draft process. Even though he might not be Barry Sanders, I get that. For a bell cow runner who's 225 pounds and thick and strong, his ability to do jump cuts and make people miss, especially inside the box there in the running game, I found it to be extremely, extremely impressive. And you saw that in the game a little bit. You saw him make some really sharp cuts. You saw him get hit and then still fall forward for another 3 or 4 yards. And those are the kind of things I think they were alluding to that, they think they got something there in Omarion.
Yeah, one of the things I saw Harbaugh say about him is that in practices, this was before the game, he goes, I haven't seen him run it up the back of any of his linemen. It's just like he is able to find the hole, hit the hole, move around.
He has the right approach, right, of knowing to go, wait, there's a hole? Let me just hit it and put pedal to the metal. Wait, there's nothing there? Let me pull back and just read a little bit and see where the blocking goes, and then I'll make my move off of that. Very mature runner. I think that jumped out to me. That was one of the things that jumped out to me about him at North Carolina. And come on, Matthew Berry made him ride or die, his ride or die player.
Yeah, which was early for Matthew. I was like, I've never heard of Matthew Berry going his ride or die in July.
I mean, he does do it. He has done that before. He does
it always at the Hall of Fame game?
He did it at the Hall of Fame game 2 years ago. I know that. Right, he did. Right.
I'm wrong. Wow.
Way to pay attention to the company. but no. But either way, it's a bold,
but a rookie. I mean, when's the last time you did a rookie?
I don't remember.
There we
a rookie.
go.
That's true.
That was different.
But if there's one rookie I think we can say is going to get touches, it's Omarion Hampton, just because we know the way they play. And I also think it buys them time to get these receivers going on the offensive side of the ball, which I think we all know is a thing there, as Justin Herbert takes a lot of crap and the things he's done and whatever else and losing playoff games. They need the receivers to step up. That's another big part of their football team.
In my defense, I don't think he's probably done it in July because this was the earliest Hall of Fame game we've had in a long time. So it's like, I think technicality I won there.
Yeah,
even though
you did.
The intention was wrong. You mentioned the wide receivers. They got a couple of rookies there. They got Trey Harris to go along with Quentin Johnston, to go along with Ladd McConkey, who they had last year. And then in the 5th round, they also drafted Keandre Lambert-Smith, former Penn State guy, played his final year at Auburn, had a really good year there. They need more weapons around Justin Herbert. You said they have the running back now. What about the wide receivers?
Yeah, we know they got Ladd McConkey. That's going to be a positive. I like that. But I don't think you want Ladd McConkey to be your outside guy that you're dependent on beating the best corners in football. You want him in the slot. So they need Quentin Johnston to step up like you talked about. And then the next guy I asked about, other than Omarion Hampton, I was like, all right, I've seen all the tree trunk offensive linemen, right? The Redwoods, I saw them. I've asked about the running back. Now I got to hear about the receivers a little bit. And the first person I asked in that department is, of course, about Trey Harris. And everybody had positive things to say. He looks really good. He looks really good, right? He's not going to go tonight, but he looks really good. But almost as soon as they said that, they interjected with Keandre Lambert-Smith, right? And they were calling him KLS, and at first I was like, who's KLS? Because they, like, sometimes coaches, and they talk to you like like the nicknames and everybody on the team, right? And I'm like, what? And then somebody finally said, they mean the Auburn receiver. And I was like, oh, yeah, Keandre Lambert-Smith, right? Okay, right, going through that. But that was, I think, after Omarion Hampton, the number 2 name I heard the most about that was just popping every day. And that was from everybody. I mean, defensive, offensive coaches. He has obviously been showing up, and you saw that a little bit in the game on Thursday night. He can run. He's got a great look in his body and all of that. So the Chargers, from that standpoint, I think are feeling positive about the offensive side of the ball. Omarion Hampton, that O-line, they like what they're seeing from Trey Harris. They got Keandre Lambert-Smith. I think they're hopeful that Quentin Johnson's on the right path here. So we'll see, because the thing that's overtaking their team, and I think that's why we're seeing this effusive praise by Jim Harbaugh on Justin Herbert, is just that he understands that the national media is, the Chargers can't get over the hump because of Justin Herbert. And I know within that organization, they think that's crazy, and they should think that's crazy. Last year was a great year for them. It was an awesome start. That playoff game left a bad taste in everybody's mouth and left a lot of people like in our position who were like, I don't know about Justin Herbert, right? And I can just tell you, Jim Harbaugh is not worried about that. And, they're going to have to I think that's why he defends him the way he does, because the team holds him in such a high regard. They don't even want the national media to have any inkling to think like, hey, we don't think he's, awesome. They love him. They're brought into him.
Well, if he slips up, now they have Trey Lance, who has emerged as a superstar after preseason game number 1. Of course, a lot of talk is going to be of the backup quarterbacks. This might be the only time you see him all season, but Trey Lance goes out there 13 20, 120 yards, throws a couple touchdowns. I do want to talk about the Lions backup quarterbacks too, but just real quick on Trey Lance and what you thought.
Hey, look good. I mean, he's a good-looking athlete. I watched him throw the ball a lot in pregame warm-ups. I mean, he can, he's got power on his arm. Yeah. Now, there's still some of the things that I would tell you that we talked about from the very get-go that I don't always love, right? The variety of passes. If you watch him in warm-up, the ball goes high a lot because he kind of does that. He kind of dips down, and then he never gets on top of the ball again, and he stays under it, and the ball kind of goes all over the place high and all that. But damn, that was a good start right there. I mean, he's not going to be the starter there. I mean, the backup. They got Taylor Heineke. That he is fighting for third string. He is fighting for his life in the NFL. So even though that was a good start there, no doubt about that, I see people go like, oh, maybe he could be the backup. I'm like, I think that's kind of set in stone. But either way, he showed command of the offense. He was good in the pocket. He did have a few nice little touch throws and all of that. Even the touchdown on 4th down, that was a nice little touch throw over somebody, got it down. So I think that's positive. I root for Trey Lance. I know the situation he was in very tough. I'm sure he doesn't like me very much because I point out some of his flaws at times and all that. But either way, good to see him do that. Impressive-looking athlete. And there are some positive things, but I think we know what Trey Lance is by now. He didn't sneak by the last 5 years of us like, oh, we misevaluated him. Oh, he wasn't in a good situation on that all-star team with the 49ers that drafted him number 3 and wanted to make it all happen for him in every which way, right? The Cowboys traded a 4th rounder for him. It wasn't like they were like, oh, yeah, just we didn't support him the right way. People sometimes got to give up these pipe dreams, right? You got to give them up every now and then. Like Matt Corral, I had him. Not good. Like, I gave it up. Like, give it up.
Like preseason week number 1, you gave it up.
I gave it up like week 2. You're right. I think it was week 2. Like, give it up, okay? Like, some boy, you got to look at it and give it up.
Can you give yourself some more time?
Trey Lance is a third-string quarterback who has the capabilities of being a backup for a long time. I think that's all there is to it. And this year's not that year that he's going to be the backup. Taylor Heineke is.
It's just a reminder of how razor-thin those margins are between, like, elite and just average or third string, because Trey Lance is still a very, very talented football player, one of the best in the country. And he is barely hanging on for his NFL life. All right, what do we think about the Lions here? Because let's start with the backup quarterback, just because you were talking about.
One more thing about the Chargers here. I just want to hit on one more thing.
Yeah. Because this is what we do.
Well, talking to Derwin James, right? Talking to Derwin James,
defensive side,
who looked awesome.
Yep.
And then talking to Jesse Minter, your old Michigan D coordinator, right?
Yep.
That was the other thing that jumped out to me, was that, like, defensively, they feel like they're at a different starting point. They're definitely deeper in the playbook right now than they were compared to last year, right, when it was all new and all of that. And that to me is dangerous. You know how much I like the way they're coached on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I was going through some weeks last year going, man, I love this Chargers D. I don't know if it's the most super talented defense in football, right? But there's some talent at the right positions, and they have a coach that I do think is special, right, in that way. I think he knows how to coach basic defense and really be, like, fundamentally sound that way, and then he knows how to be creative and give you stuff to go, like, damn, I don't know what the hell this coverage is, what their blitz is bringing. So that was also, I thought, a very interesting little nugget coming out from the Los Angeles Chargers. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.